Hello. Thank you so much, Richard, for the kind introduction. And it's great to be here with you all. We're not really wasting any time. We're not really wasting any petrol out there by doing this virtual, just a little bit of a carbon footprint with the electricity that we are using. And I love the topic today, waste. It's a very, very important topic. But when we look back at the history of waste, looking at where nature started, if you think back about it, nature didn't invent waste. Everything that nature came up with went back into the system. The harmony, the balance of the original reality of Mother Earth, our planet, God's creation, however we want to call it, was a reality of zero waste. Everything had its place. Only when we humans came about, industrial revolution, we started to dig out the oil, the coal. We came up with all sorts of products that are non-biodegradable, that are not from nature anymore. The leaves that come from the trees, they go back to nature. But the packaging that we humans have invented, unfortunately, take a long, long time to biodegrade. So we have an issue here that we need to tackle as a humanity, that we need to tackle on the level of a nation, the Philippines, or that we need to tackle on the level of our household, our family at home. The intent is that we come up with solutions to minimize our waste. Some people have set themselves the target of zero waste. That is a great ambition. I love that target. I have never achieved it myself, but I think it's a great ambition to have. The closer you can come to zero waste and having that kind of mindset, you can see already, I don't have many things going to waste. Calbo, as you can see over here, is actually very eco-friendly, very much minimizing waste because I don't need any shampoo. I don't need much water. I don't waste time. But on the journey to minimizing waste or zero waste, we have a lot of obstacles. I realized that many, many years ago, when I was in first time Southeast Asia, and it was in Indonesia. It must have been 1996. I was still a young guy. I had some hair on my head, which has changed now. But I was giving a talk on how business could go green, how business could take action. And the people who were attending my talk were telling me, oh yeah, in Germany, you need to do this because you're coming from Germany, because in Germany, it costs you money to get rid of your waste. But here, we don't need to worry. We don't need to pay for getting rid of our waste. We can just get rid of it. And I was thinking for a moment, they had caught me a little bit off guard. I was still a young guy, not so much experience as I had now. But after I thought about it for a little while, I started to challenge that way of thinking. If you think your waste is free of charge, then think again. How much is the hidden cost of your waste? How much money did you spend on buying the raw materials in the first place that you turned into waste? How much did you pay for the machines, for the electricity, for the labor that you actually needed to manufacture waste? Are you sure your waste doesn't cost you anything? The hidden cost of our waste, particularly in our companies, in our organizations, in a manufacturing context, is gigantic. Please start looking at the hidden cost of your waste. It's inefficiency. It's non-optimized yield. But don't just look at the physical waste. Look at the waste of electricity. The electricity comes from power plants. Most of our power plants still run on coal. We are responsible for a huge amount of additional CO2 and other emissions if we waste electricity. So minimizing waste as a concept is incredibly powerful to increase the profitability of your business. If you are not focused on waste minimization, then you're actually missing out. You are basically letting profits go to waste. So we need to change our mindset to overcome this obstacle. We need to, as well in an organizational context and even in a family context, come up with solutions that help us mobilize and motivate the masses. Simple example. When I was living in a condo in Malaysia, my neighbor Gregors and myself, we were starting a recycling campaign. Then we realized the cleaners were seeing us as competition. Why? Because the cleaners were already recycling a little bit themselves and selling it to a recycling company. The same here in the Philippines, actually at an even larger scale. Some people's livelihood is depending on the recyclables that they collect and sell. If we turn this around, that's what we did in the condo. Instead of working against the cleaners, we sat round the table with the cleaners and asked them, how should we help you so you can recycle more? They said, oh, the biggest problem is we have a lot of paper and other stuff that could be recycled that's contaminated from food waste. Can we find a way to motivate the people living in the condo to keep these things separate? Okay, no problem, walang problema. It cost us 8,000 pesos, 700 ringgit Malaysian, to install an additional bin for recyclables and a shelf for paper and cardboard in the condo at each level, 23 floors. People were amazed. They were happy that they were now separating and recycling. I even met one guy once who lived in a condo. He said to me, hey, Matthias, I've never recycled in my whole life, but only in this condo, and now I'm inspiring other people to do the same. That simple solution scaled up the recycling from below 100 kilos a month to more than 300 kilos each month, and we let the money go back to the pockets of the employees. That's something I've started to apply as well with organizations here in the Philippines. Once you incentivize the cleaners and tell them you can keep the money from the recyclables, watch and see how your recycling rate is going to go up and up and up. Simple motivation and incentives can make a huge and big difference. So what I propose for us to take this to the next level, and there's loads of good stuff going on in the Philippines that we can support, is 3 real simple areas of focus. One is your family. Try and inspire people in your family to play part of it. The first word beside ayaw that my baby daughter learned was ecobrick. Now, the ecobrick is not the solution, but it's just a way of getting ourselves tuned into starting to do something. Next step is how can we avoid it? How can we reduce it in the first place? How can we then separate it? What we do is we keep the recyclables separate, and then when we see somebody on the roadside who is collecting recyclables for livelihood, I wave at those guys, I ask them to stop, and I give them a bag full of recyclables. The smile alone of those people that you've just given 1 or 2 days of work without them having to work for it is so priceless. This is what Nanai has done here at home, turning a Tetra Pak into my little pouch that I use for my gadgets, for my business cards. Even the kids in the family have started using this. The cousin of my baby daughter, who is 8 years old, is starting to sell these at school, turning items that are waste into new products. One of my friends here, Joey Green, he creates livelihood opportunities in remote places in the Philippines with turning waste into bags. Let me show you the bag. This is the bag that I bought from him recently, made in Mindanao from the plastic waste coming from the ice cubes that are being distributed to shops. This is made from the plastic wrapping around the ice cubes. This was my previous bag from Joey Green, made from Tacloban after Typhoon Haiyan. This was the plastic wrapping and packaging of the mineral water bottles that were sent over there. Now, these guys can help a lot of communities. There are a lot of amazing projects happening in the Philippines, but unless you and me buy those products, those upcycled products, these initiatives will never grow beyond a very small niche initiative. Joey Green and thousands of other upcycling and recycling initiatives around the country need our support, especially CEOs and large companies. Your next Christmas gift that you're giving to your employees or to your customers, please make it an upcycled product that is produced by one of those many community-based initiatives all over the country. If these people get your support, if they get the demand from the marketplace by us buying their products, they can scale it up and we can help more people in their livelihood, and we can turn more waste into product. This is how we can, I think, best help with our money. Buy the things that heal the planet rather than the things that become a problem for the planet. And finally, we have this linear thinking. Dig out the oil and gas, the coal, turn it into chemicals, turn it into packaging, and then dispose of it. This is the linear way that we are thinking now. We need to think in a circular economy. I co-founded a business in Germany. It turns industrial waste into building materials. We are starting to grow nicely. There are loads of business opportunities in the circular economy. The circular economy is the future. ESG funds, environment, social governance, are looking for companies that take those opportunities serious, that start developing products today that will heal the planet tomorrow and in the future. The linear economy will be out. The circular economy will be the winning economy. Please start looking at your internal waste and external waste and how you can include it in your product and process innovation process so that we become champions who benefit from the circular economy. My hope and my wish is that we can contribute to helping all those livelihood projects all over the country and make the Philippines a leader for the circular economy. Don't waste this opportunity to turn waste into a growth and healing for the nation. Thank you. Salamat po.
Wow, that was really good, Matthias. Matthias, I know you work with large organizations, and I'm sure mid-size and other, but what kind of work do you do for them? I think I heard the SM, you know the people there, but what kind of work would you do for these organizations? Speaking is one part of it, but is there other things as well?
Yeah, my core focus is really trying to encourage people to appreciate the opportunities that are linked with whether it's waste, whether it's energy, whether it's climate neutrality, whether it's the wider environment, social governance opportunities. You need fired up people. You need capacity to understand it and interpret it. Where is the opportunity, the sweet spot in your organization? So that is what I help organizations with. Where in your company does it actually matter? Where is the opportunity and where can you innovate? It's about innovation, operational innovation. And this innovation starts in our mind, thinking beyond the boundaries that we are thinking now and looking at future products, future solutions, and operational efficiencies. Like normally what I would look at is show me your data. Now, large companies in particular are reporting their sustainability reports. It's an SEC requirement now, report or explain. I had a look at some of these reports, and the Philippine Stock Exchange as well will start their Bell Awards, which in the past has focused on governance. In the future, it will focus on ESG. And environmental and social performance criteria we can compare in a certain sector where people consider this a critical issue, you can actually pull the data out of those reports and you can compare how are different people doing against others, benchmarking. So benchmarking is very powerful to give you an idea where can you still improve and where should you improve, because you're maybe lagging behind your peers in the industry.
I see. And now you must have some people. What do you say to CEOs and senior business leaders who say that, well, yeah, this is a very good, CSR activity, but I don't see it really as a business opportunity. What do you say to that? Is that the truth, or is there exceptions? What do you think?
This is a dangerous way of thinking, because especially international investors expect you to deliver environment and social benefit through your core business.
Okay.
If you don't deliver it through your core business, then you're going to miss out on the investment funds wanting to put their money, if you're a listed company, into your stock. That's number one. Number two, if you just outsource it and give some donations as a CSR, then you're not identifying internal opportunities. The large companies in particular, what you mentioned earlier on already, SM or Ayala, they're even using the UN Sustainable Development Goals as a calibration. Where are the big new business opportunities in the future? This can be healthcare, this can be environmentally related issues, it can be poverty alleviation. The big trend at the moment is healthy buildings. With COVID, we have all realized what a threat unhealthy buildings are, bad indoor air quality, because it increases the risk of airborne virus transmission. Now we are suddenly realizing that the wellness of our employees is critical to the long-term success. It's not just CSR. It needs to start with our internal organization. And if you do those things properly, you get increased productivity, you get less employee sickness, and that has a huge positive impact on your bottom line. So there are loads and loads of opportunities on making this happen within your organization, rather than just giving something to CSR causes.